video this time we're talking Cold War, well, Call of Duty for the first time in a long time. Because Black Ops 6 is looking to be very well done this year. Now, the reason why I discuss this is because, for those who are new to my channel, I'm a huge Call of Duty fan, right? Call of Duty was the first game I played after going completely blind, no vision whatsoever, except for a little bit of light, and Black Ops 3 was the first one, right? From that point until last 2-3 years, I played every COD except Infinite Warfare, except that one. But I played all of them, and I did my best to try what I could and do what I could, prove what I could. So round 30 hardcore mode or hardcore difficulty Black Ops 4, round 20 on the Giant on Black Ops 3, zombies, however many prestiges in each game, multiplayer stats, whatever I could think of, right? 10,000 kills in Call of War 2, just whatever, right? Whatever I could think of, I did it. I went for it. I tried it, right? Unfortunately, the quality of the games has gone down to the point where I just didn't want to play them. And other games came out that were more accessible, more playable, or just more fun, to be honest. That's unfortunate, but with BO6, we're looking good. We have a more traditional prestige system, in their words, a more classic streak system, in their words, the Omni directional movement, the fact that we have a COD podcast thing, so it's actually trying to touch the community more. Treyarch's lead dev this time, and they're looking pretty strong. The last game they fully developed was Cold War, which I think is an underrated game, and the sound design is extremely good. So I'm expecting great audio fidelity in this game. But here's the thing, right? Here's the big thing that's always a hang-up with Call of Duty. What about the accessibility? What about the features for the blind or the low vision or partially deaf or whatever? It's always a hit or miss, because some games, at least some of these games, are well designed enough in the audio department. You don't necessarily need a whole lot for accessibility. A lot of blind people seem to think you need this, need this, need this. Not really. You don't need nav assist in multiplayer modes. In zombies, maybe, sure. But generally speaking, I think there's a handful, there's 3, 4, 5 things that we can look at Last of Us Part 2, specifically, and transition those to COD. For those of you who've been around, you realize that I probably am doing the same exact video I did a couple years back, but understand the way accessibility works now more so. I want to try and convey what I'm thinking better than I did those years back. So, Last of Us Part 2 came out, and let's just put it straight. It basically is the gold standard for how a shooter can be made accessible. It's tricky, it's hard, but it can be done. The reason being, if you remember Last of Us Part 2, or those of you who have seen the return gameplay from me, when you aim down with your weapon, it will automatically turn you and point you right at the enemy, and you'll lock right onto their torso, right? So that's aim assist type thing. You have sound effects, or a listen mode basically, but sound effects to indicate when you're right about to pick something up, when you're next to a climb thing or a objective, or whatever you're doing, the navigation assist stuff, right? You have sound effects to indicate when you have to dodge an attack. There's a whole bunch of stuff, right? I think the main thing, especially a screen reader, right? Screen reader reads the whole damn game. Literally every single screen with text, anything at all, it's reading it off, right? Even the lore, little lore notes and stuff. So for COD specifically, what do I think would help it? Well, for starters, a screen reader that gets the entirety of the game. Anytime there's a random text on screen, anytime there's something that we may not see or see enough to read, should be reading it. Menus for create a class, menus for playlists, menus for customizing your custom games, your private matches. Press and hold square to pick up the sky. And ideally, it would be customizable enough to you can enable or disable. Okay, I don't want it to read every time I walk over a gun to pick up. I don't need it to read to me every time I don't know, I'm capturing A or whatever, right? A in domination. You could ideally you could customize it. For me personally, what I would, if I could customize it, and if this was happening, what I would do is this: I'd have it read all the menus, straight up, and only read when I get when I'm able to interact with the objective. Because then I would know, hey, I'm actually capturing this. I'm planting a bomb on this. Picked up enemy tag, claimed friendly tag, stuff like that, right? And to circumvent the idea of the navigation assist, which you probably couldn't do in a fast-paced Twitch shooter like Call of Duty. It's not feasible with how quickly you live and die, and especially with one life modes like Search and Destroy. What I would do is a proximity-based audio indicator whenever you're within an objective, like maybe 5 or 10 meters, 15 meters at the most, and it would just start beeping at you, like toward the direction or whatever you have to go. So let's say hypothetically, right? Let's see if I can remember how to change. Did it put people in the match? I don't know what I did honestly, but let's say for example, right, in Cold War, the example we have here, you know when you are on a domination point because A, your character will tell you capturing this objective, right? B, the announcer tells you capturing A, capturing B, capturing C, and well, C, you have a sound indicator. Speaking of domination, here we go. We have a sound indicator every time you actually get onto a flag. Let's see, so it's capturing A, so one of my teammates is capturing A, the enemy captured C. Let's see if we can find a flag to show you the audio that I'm talking about. And this right here is where I would say a audio ping of some kind, hey, head this direction, in front of you, left, whatever, right? So that's for objectives, right? What about actually shooting players? Well, the big thing that I think would help a blind person, just two things. A, have a sound effect whenever you're actually on target. Say I'm aiming down sights here. There's no sound. Right?
Taking Charlie.
But there'd be a beep or some sort of sound to indicate, hey, that's an enemy. It won't make a sound on the friendly, but it'll make a sound on an enemy, so you know that's a clear target. I dropped that guy, right? You can see, like, that's the team. Right?
Securing Bravo.
The auto centering. So one of the biggest issues that's been happening, and any blind person can tell you this with any shooter, that if you aim too much, or too high or too low, right? And I'm gonna actually
be secure.
We don't need to mess around. So a way to automatically recenter your aim would be a great help, right? Because the animation is quite loud. So auto centering your aim, so that way you don't have to worry about going up or down too much. Sound effects for the objectives, sound effects for indicating when you can shoot somebody, text-to-speech for the menus. That's all COD really needs at baseline. Of course, it could be improved upon and more suggestions, stuff like that, but I think generally that's a great starting point. I think it'll work. So, hopefully Black Ops 6 this time around does it correctly and we have all these features. If not, even if it's just basic, hey, you can get a text-to-speech in the menus, fine, sure, we can work with that. Not a big deal. But yeah, I'll say the one thing that some people are worried about, or maybe not worried, but they don't like the idea of, is that there's a perk that'll make your footsteps mute or hard to hear. Unfortunately, it's just a byproduct of the way COD works. You have dead silence and awareness, and they're supposed to counter each other, so that way you have that counterplay of like an actual just player decision. That's not an accessibility thing. I can't think of a way to get around that without just completely like bypassing or removing dead silence, which the problem with that is no one likes dead silence being removed. Even I don't. I play with Ninja. I play with dead silence. I don't like hearing my own footsteps. It drives me nuts. Where it's like Cold War, what they did was your footsteps are not entirely silent. There's still a little bit of sound to them. So I think that's a fair compromise, right? So as long as you're paying attention, you'll hear them. If not, you'll die. Outside of the individual player having accessibility or sound effects or whatever, one thing that I just thought of would be a team ping system. So in Cold War, you can place a ping or place a pin, right? Basically, left D-pad. Your character will tell you what you're looking at. Marking the objective. That's an enemy. Like your character describes what they're looking at. It's almost like audio description. Almost like. If you could bring that back, of course, that'd be nice. double more so, or doubly, even more so, especially if you have like sound effects. Like, let me look at this sound effect I hear. Okay, what is that? Oh, boom! It's a flag, right? So that way you're actively being told what you're looking at, so you know what to do, or have an idea what to do. And then if you have team-based ping, especially if you have party ping, let's say you're partying up with a sighted player. A sighted player can place a pin, and that pin can make a sound effect, so you know, hey, my friend's over here. He's looking at something. Let's head over to him, right? So it helps with the coordination stuff like that. So that's just a random thought I had. So again, thanks again for listening or watching in this case. Hopefully you guys found this helpful in some way, or I just hope Treyarch pulled the trigger on accessibility, because the fact that BO6 is looking really good, it's looking hype. Like, I haven't seen hype like this for COD in years. I even like joined like the Call of Duty Discord server. Like, I'm legitimately excited for this game. Even if there's no accessibility, I'll still play it. I'll still enjoy it. I'm sure I'll enjoy it, actually, based on what I've heard. But the accessibility would just be the nice like cherry on top, right? So thanks again for listening. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys next time.